Today, I say goodbye to the sport that made me who I am. Boxing gave me everything: discipline, purpose, and unforgettable battles. I fought with my heart, never backed down, and always gave the fans a show. But now, it's time for the next chapter. Thank you to my family, my team, and every fan who supported me. This isn't the end. My legacy will live on. Much love.
In a shocking twist, David Benavidez, one of boxing's brightest stars, announced his retirement after a crushing defeat at the hands of David Morrell, a fighter who had been undefeated for nearly a decade. The idea of him walking away from the sport seemed impossible just days before. Set the stage. Benavidez, widely regarded as one of the most dangerous fighters in the light heavyweight division, had a reputation for his brutal power, aggressive style, and his dominance over the competition. But after this loss, everything changed. The announcement sent shockwaves through the boxing community, with fans and analysts alike left stunned. How could a fighter so untouchable in his prime choose to step away? Was it the loss itself? Or was there more beneath the surface? This was more than just another title defense, or another name added to the win column.
Talking a lot of shit, but at the end of the day,
Benavidez and Morrell were fighting for a chance to stake their claim as the future of the division. For Benavidez, this fight was meant to solidify his spot as a top contender for the undisputed light heavyweight title, with the looming shadow of Canelo Alvarez always in his sights. A victory would have positioned him perfectly for that lucrative, high-profile showdown with the Mexican superstar. On the other hand, Morrell, younger, undefeated, and full of potential, had everything to prove. A win for him would not only mark the rise of a new champion, but it would also put him in the conversation for the biggest fights in the sport, including potentially facing Canelo in the future.
I would love to fight Canelo. It'd be a massive, massive fight, but Canelo says that he has other things, and he says I'm being too mean in the way I'm approaching him, so...
You don't want to face monsters.
Yeah, I guess I gotta work on my attitude.
The build-up to this fight was nothing short of intense. Fans were eager to see if Benavidez could continue his relentless pursuit of greatness, or if Morrell would finally be the one to stop him. Both fighters had been at the top of their game, and expectations were high. The event was hyped as a potential classic, a battle between the old guard and the new blood, a fight that would define the future of the light heavyweight division. What no one expected was how it all ended: the abrupt retirement of Benavidez, leaving fans and analysts alike grappling with the reality of this unforeseen twist in the story. As the bell rang for the final time and the dust settled in the ring, no one could have predicted the aftermath. The loss, though hard-fought, was enough for Benavidez to make the decision to walk away from the sport he had dominated for years.
Turki Al-Sheikh said that he would like you to come to the Benavidez-Bivol fight. What are your thoughts on possibly doing that, and what do you think about fighting the winner next?
This wasn't just a fighter calling it quits after a few setbacks or injuries. No, this was a powerful champion who had looked unbeatable until now. Someone who seemed destined for greater things. The announcement raised countless questions. What led to his decision? Was this just a loss, or was it a culmination of factors we didn't see coming? David Benavidez entered the fight as a towering figure in the sport, a boxer with an impeccable undefeated record and a reputation for his savage power. Known for his aggressive style, precision, and ferocity in the ring, Benavidez had earned his place at the top of the light heavyweight division. As a former two-time world champion, his credentials were undeniable. He had vanquished opponents with ease, displaying his dominant ability to break down even the toughest competitors. The anticipation surrounding the fight with David Morrell was immense. Fans knew that Benavidez wasn't just fighting for another win. He was fighting to solidify his place in boxing history. A victory over Morrell would propel him into the realm of elite fighters, with a clear shot at facing the reigning king of the division, Canelo Alvarez. The possibility of an undisputed title fight was within reach, a dream that had been the driving force behind Benavidez's career.
Yeah, I would definitely love to go. Right now, I'm just thinking about taking a break, bro. I've been training for 4.5 months, been preparing for this fight, but I would love to go over there. I would love to fight those guys. This is what I'm here for.
This was a pivotal moment, a make-or-break opportunity to prove that he was ready to take on the best in the world and stake his claim to the throne. On the other side of the ring stood the young, undefeated phenom, David Morrell. A Cuban fighter with explosive talent and an impressive amateur background, Morrell's rise in the sport had been swift. Despite facing less experienced opponents in his career so far, his skill set was undeniable. Critics and fans were intrigued by his raw potential. His fast hands, slick movement, and ability to read opponents made him a rising star in the division. However, he had never faced anyone on the caliber of Benavidez. This fight marked a turning point for Morrell. It was no longer about proving himself in the lower ranks. This was his chance to ascend to the upper echelon of boxing. If he could defeat Benavidez, he would not only claim a major title, but also prove that he had the chops to be the future of the light heavyweight division. The hype surrounding the fight was built on the fact that Morrell was the younger, fresher fighter, someone with a hunger to rise, while Benavidez was looking to cement his legacy. The lead up to the fight was as intense as the fight itself was anticipated to be. The media frenzy reached a fever pitch as both fighters exchanged heated words. The psychological warfare played a significant role in the drama that unfolded before they even stepped into the ring. Morrell, known for his brash confidence, didn't hesitate to throw jabs at Benavidez, taunting him with claims that Benavidez's style was outdated and predictable. He called him RoboCop, mocking his robotic movements and suggesting that Benavidez lacked the fluidity and adaptability to compete with a fighter like him. Benavidez wasn't one to back down from a challenge. He countered with his own mind games, dismissing Morrell's remarks with a calm but dangerous confidence. Benavidez reminded the media and fans that he had faced and defeated slick fighters like Caleb Plant and Demetrius Andrade, showing that his ability to adapt to elusive, quick opponents was well established.
I got you right here. Caleb, Sweet Hands Plant. What do you think about the fight tonight, Benavidez versus Morrell? Man, hell of a fight.
He didn't need to prove anything in that regard. Instead, he focused on how Morrell had never fought at this level, never been truly tested against a fighter who could break him down physically and mentally. As the trash talk heated up, the stakes became higher. The hype surrounding the fight was amplified not just by the personal animosity between the fighters, but by the intense contrast in their careers. Benavidez with his years of experience, champion pedigree, and unblemished record, and Morrell with his rapid rise, raw skill, and the chip on his shoulder. This wasn't just a fight for a title, it was a battle for respect, a fight for supremacy in a division that promised to be a fierce battleground for years to come. For Benavidez, the fight was about much more than just the belt. It was his ticket to the biggest fight of his career. If he could defeat Morrell, he would move one step closer to achieving his long-held dream, a showdown with Canelo Alvarez for the undisputed light heavyweight title. Benavidez had been chasing Canelo for years, but had always been forced to wait in line as the Mexican champion dominated the division. A victory here would ensure that Benavidez was finally in a position to demand the biggest fight in boxing. The future was within his grasp. On the flip side, Morrell was fighting for validation. This was his chance to prove that he belonged in the elite ranks of boxing. A win over Benavidez would not only elevate him to the top of the division, but it would cement his place as the future star of light heavyweight boxing.
Yeah, no, he's bringing up that your manager's making more money than you. Can you clear the air on that? What do you make of those comments? And they're not true, right?
While Benavidez had already been tested and found victorious against top-tier opponents, Morrell had yet to prove himself against a fighter of Benavidez's caliber. This fight was his opportunity to show the world that he wasn't just a rising star, but a force to be reckoned with. In a sport where only the strongest survive, both fighters understood the significance of this fight. For Benavidez, it was about solidifying his legacy and claiming the future he'd been chasing for years. For Morrell, it was a chance to rewrite the narrative of his career, proving that the future was now and that he was ready to take over. The stage was set for a legendary showdown. The fight between David Benavidez and David Morrell started with a highly anticipated intensity that fans expected. Benavidez, known for his relentless pressure and explosive punches, immediately sought to take control, closing the distance on Morrell. However, Morrell surprised many by showing exceptional resilience and skill. He didn't just sit back and absorb the incoming onslaught. Instead, he used his slick movement and sharp jab to frustrate Benavidez, keeping the pressure at bay in the opening rounds.
Benavidez, Brian, as we have mentioned, those deliberate starts, he's on a heater here right now. He made sure he's not going to actively give away rounds.
Benavidez's usual commanding presence didn't seem to be fully effective. His punches lacked their usual snap, and it was clear he wasn't in his usual rhythm. Despite Benavidez's aggression, Morrell countered with excellent timing, moving fluidly and landing precise shots. His ability to change levels and adjust to Benavidez's pressure made it clear he wasn't simply a fast starter. He had the tools to carry this fight into the later rounds. As the fight progressed, Benavidez began to show signs of frustration.
Early on, he's going to put that pressure on. And after we're seeing the defense, and we're seeing the head movement, the upper body movement, sitting down with the left hook, David Benavidez.
Morrell's confidence grew with each passing round, and it was becoming apparent that Benavidez wasn't fully clicking into his usual mode of destruction. His punches were telegraphed at times, and Morrell's defense was on point. The middle rounds were marked by Morrell's superior footwork, sharp counters, and defensive maneuvers, which allowed him to dominate and frustrate Benavidez.
You listen to the corner, they told him about the head movement, high guard, get in there.
Clipped! He did get clipped!
He was increasingly forced to chase him around the ring. The turning point came in the later rounds when Morrell began landing punches that visibly affected Benavidez. His speed and accuracy were shining through, while Benavidez, seemingly off his game, couldn't answer back with the same power he had been known for. Morrell was dictating the pace of the fight, finding holes in Benavidez's defense and delivering a combination of punches that pushed him to the limit. The final moments, it became clear that Morrell had taken control, outpacing and outworking Benavidez to secure the victory.
Now, Morrell trying to fight back. Benavidez, though. Benavidez is not going to hold. He's going to fight through it. Unbelievable. He got...
The once unstoppable champion was on the ropes, and Morrell capitalized on every opportunity. When the final bell rang, the crowd knew they had witnessed a monumental upset, with Morrell claiming the victory in what was a career-defining performance. The shockwaves didn't stop at the final bell. After the loss, Benavidez stunned everyone by announcing his retirement from boxing. His words rang heavy in the arena, catching both fans and analysts off guard. In a heartfelt moment, Benavidez said, "I've given my all to this sport, but after tonight, it's time to walk away." The announcement was a jarring moment for those who had followed his career and seen him as a dominant force in the sport.
Morrell now going in, and he's got him rattled again. Morrell's doing what he said he would do. Punch for punch. Benavidez.
Retirement came as a surprise for many, considering Benavidez had been on the cusp of bigger things, including a potential showdown with Canelo Alvarez, a fighter of his caliber who had once been seen as one of the sport's rising stars. Walking away after a loss to Morrell felt like a dramatic end to a long chapter. The news quickly spread across the boxing world, and reactions came pouring in from all sides. Fans, commentators, and fellow fighters were left stunned by Benavidez's decision. Many expected him to recover from the loss, citing his youth and skill. Others believed that his decision was driven by more than just one defeat and hinted at the mental and physical toll the sport had taken on him. Some speculated that the loss to Morrell was the catalyst for his decision, a reminder that boxing can be a brutal sport with no guarantees.
Down once in his career. Morrell has him on the ropes. Time is going to run out, but drama here in the first.
Others wondered whether there were personal reasons behind his announcement, possibly stemming from mental fatigue, wear and tear on his body, or a sense of closure. Benavidez had been chasing the Canelo fight for years, and some believed that this loss, coupled with the disappointment of not reaching that goal, might have led him to question his future in the sport. Reasoning: one possible explanation for Benavidez's retirement is the mental toll the sport can take. Boxing requires intense focus and discipline, and Benavidez had been relentlessly pursuing his dream of becoming the undisputed champion. The pressure to perform, to keep winning, and to always be the best can be overwhelming. After years of anticipation, and with his ultimate goal now seemingly out of reach, It's possible that Benavidez felt mentally drained and unable to continue pushing himself at the highest level. Another reason could be physical fatigue. Benavidez had fought many tough opponents in his career, taking hits and absorbing damage with each bout. The sport's demands on the body are grueling, and after a defeat like this, he might have realized that the physical strain was becoming too much. Perhaps the accumulation of injuries and the toll of intense training camps made it harder to recover and maintain peak performance. Finally, Benavidez may have simply felt that he had accomplished all he could in boxing. He had been a two-time champion, built a legacy of dominance, and faced many of the best in the division. If he felt that he had achieved everything he set out to do, the loss to Morrell might have been the final push to walk away on his own terms. David Benavidez will always be remembered for his dominance in the ring, his undefeated streak, and his incredible power. He was a champion who had the potential to become one of the greatest in the division. His retirement leaves a void in the light heavyweight division and marks the end of a chapter in boxing. It's a reminder that no fighter, no matter how dominant, is immune to the unpredictability of the sport. This loss to Morrell might be viewed as the end of an era for Benavidez. It was the loss that ultimately led to his retirement, making it a pivotal moment in his career. While his legacy is cemented with numerous victories, this defeat will forever be a part of his story. With Benavidez stepping away, the light heavyweight division is wide open. Fighters like Morrell, who proved he belongs at the top, will have the opportunity to rise and become the new face of the division. The door is open for new champions to emerge and for the next generation of fighters to chase the title that Benavidez once held. David Benavidez had a career that inspired admiration from fans and fellow fighters alike. His undefeated run, his explosive power, and his relentless approach to the sport made him a feared opponent in the ring. He was a fighter who dominated the lower light heavyweight ranks and fought with a passion that left a lasting mark on boxing. The boxing world will remember Benavidez not just for his accomplishments, but for the way he carried himself in the sport. Tributes flooded in from fighters, trainers, and fans, all acknowledging his heart, skill, and the impact he had on the sport. His place in boxing history is secure, and his departure leaves a bittersweet legacy of what could have been. Now that Morrell has defeated one of the division's top fighters, his future looks incredibly promising. With Benavidez retiring, Morrell stands as the next potential superstar in the light heavyweight division. The boxing world is waiting to see what comes next for him. Will he claim the undisputed title, or will another challenger rise to meet him? As for Benavidez, retirement opens up new possibilities. He may choose to stay involved in boxing in some capacity, whether as a commentator, trainer, or mentor for up-and-coming fighters. His impact on the sport is undeniable, and his future outside the ring may still be tied to the sport he's given so much to. Boxing is a sport defined by its unpredictability, and Benavidez's sudden retirement is a powerful reminder of how quickly things can change in the ring. For every fighter, there comes a moment when the journey ends. For Benavidez, that moment arrived after a crushing defeat, and while it was a shocking decision, it was his to make. As fans, we can only reflect on his legacy and look ahead to what the future holds for the fighters who will rise in his wake. What do you think of Benavidez's retirement? Do you believe it was the right decision, or could we have seen more from him? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more boxing news and updates. Until next time, peace out.